So what I'd like you to do right now is to look at your samples at the beginning of the right-hand side of your packet. You will see a sample that says Susan Nelson. I don't want you to read it. I just want you to look at the resume from a visual impact point of view, and I just want really, really quick feedback. Clean? Well laid out?
Easy to read.
What?
Easy to scan.
It's easy to scan. The key thing here in terms of the visual impact is we want to make sure that we have good white-gray balance, okay? And when we look at homemade resumes, this is often where they really show that they are homemade and this wasn't professionally done, is the spacing and the margins will be irregular, okay? And there just will not be a good balance that contributes to good visual appeal, okay? So good white-gray balance. Now the margins are really surprisingly important here, all right? And again, that homemade resume, especially if people are still trying to keep things on one page, and we know there's that mandate. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But if you're trying to keep it on one page and you're trying to get a little more information, how do we do that?
Just margins.
Yes, we just those margins. You know, pretty soon our left margin is 0.2, our top margin is 0.31, our right margin is, you know, 0.24, and the bottom, for some bizarre reason, is 1 inch. I'm not sure why, but I see this all the time, okay? Folks, there is nothing less attractive to the reader than a doc that has so much text on it that it looks crowded, overwhelming, and difficult to read. That by itself gets you thrown away in that 90% pile, okay? So what we say is the margins should drive the doc and not the other way around. And we'll show that in the tutorial shortly. So we're going to start now into the tutorial. You have in your packet a 3-page narrative of what we're going to be doing, but I'm going to ask you not to look at it, please. Okay?
You know what that means.
I know.
It's a ringer. It's a ringer.
I know. Because here's the thing, if you look at it and read it, you won't be paying attention, and so it won't be as useful in terms of the actual tutorial. What we do, the reason we provide that is that when you're working on your own doc, if you're thinking, oh, how did she do that thing with the putting the line under the name, then you can go back to that narrative and it'll spell it out step by step by step, okay? But for now, if we can just follow through and people have their docs. For those of you that don't have a laptop, you can just kind of be following along. If you want, you could read the narrative, but for those people that are going to be working on the doc, if we can all stay together, that'd be great. So we're going to start at the beginning. And remember what I said. We don't want the doc to drive the margins. We want the margins to drive the doc. So the very first thing we're going to do, and let's all follow along please, is to go to File and drop down to Page Setup. Now, what we have here are our minimum margins, okay? Minimum margins are 0.8 all around if we're just one line over. One of the things we can do is shave just a teeny bit off the bottom and make that 0.7. But we need a uniform invisible border. It is very important for our visual impact, okay? So these are our minimum margins, okay? But we could also do 0.9 all around. And we can go up to 1 inch. When I'm starting on a new doc, I set the margins at 0.9. If I have to adjust them, I can, and that's usually where I start. Okay? So let's start with margins at 0.9. Now you'll see that dropped us a little bit further down. I'm now 6 lines over. And I know from experience that I can make up 4 lines on a 1-page resume on the first page without changing font by just consolidating. 6, no. All right? So we have, in the same way we have parameters for our margins, we have parameters for font size. And there's not much wiggle room. If you're in Times New Roman, parameters are 11 to 12. End of story. No smaller than 11, no bigger than 12. If you're in Arial, parameters are 10 to 11. So I'm starting off here. You'll notice I'm in Arial 11. The quick fix for this is to go to Edit. Let's all go to Edit. Drop down to Select All. Go over here on our toolbar about 2/3 of the way over to our little size box. And let's type in 10.5, hit Enter. Now, not everyone knows that you can shrink font by 1/2 point. Go back to the top and let's highlight the name. Now, the name is going to be 2 to 4 font size points larger than the rest of the text. We're going over now to Format Font. Alrighty, Busy Menu. So we're going to start, of course the name is in bold. And we said that we're going to go 2 to 4 font sizes, so we're going to pick 14. Now, a lot of times people will cap their name. They'll put their name in caps, okay? Research shows that caps are very hard to read. We never use caps. On the other hand, I'm particularly fond of small caps. Let's go down under Effects, 3rd column over, and let's select small caps. Let's go back up to the top to the 2nd tab and click Character Spacing. Go down, click Expanded, and then click OK. Now what we have is our name formatted very nicely in small caps.